Hello again, everybody. Welcome to MID CityBeat TV, or what I call MID City TV. Today we are again with Carlos Sosa, who is a expert in Yucatan. Like I said, he's my guru of all things Yucatan. And today we have an interesting topic by one of our followers, Nancy. She wrote in with a topic, and I encourage everybody to write in with a specific topic, anything that you might want to know about Yucatan, the culture, the nature, history, etc. Carlos is a real expert, and so we're going to use this time to all learn together about Yucatan and about the rich state that we either live in or that we want to come visit. So definitely encourage you to write some of your topics in. Also, I have the comments open, so you're totally welcome to say hello, or if you have a question, to chime in. So today, again, we are with Carlos, like I said, and we are going to talk about the agriculture and the cattle and animals of Yucatan and how it contributes to the economy, and also the different land types there is. It's interesting to know about the different ways that Yucatecans are contributing to the economy and what it is that we're eating when we're here, etc. I know when you go into the markets, it's like, whoa, we live in one of the luckiest places in the world because we have fruits and vegetables fresh all year round, which is really incredible. Because I know in many parts of the world where there's a lot of snow, etc., you have to get fresh fruits and vegetables shipped in. That is not the case here. We are very lucky. And also I want to mention last year, because of all the tropical storms and the hurricanes, we suffered a lot. Well, especially those who are in the ag world, they lost a lot of their crops. There were a lot of animals that were lost because of all the flooding and all the storms. So not only were people suffering from the pandemic, but they were also suffering from the flooding. They were losing things in their houses and losing their livelihood. So I know there were a lot of people were banding together to help out the agriculture and the ranchers, and also the beekeepers. There were a lot of bees that were lost. So we're going to invite Carlos in, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the agriculture in Yucatan. So here we go. Carlos, hello.
¿Cómo
Hola.
estás?
Muy bien esta noche. How are you?
I was expecting to see you on the with the sunset on your background, out on the beach.
I still have to. I can see. I'm at the beach. Just in case you don't know, at Chuchulub, which we talked about last week. Very interesting place. But I'm on the second row, so I'm not right on the beach. Although I am. I'm going to see maybe next week. I'm going to try to do this live from the rooftop, because the rooftop has a spectacular view of the mangroves. But yes, maybe next week. For now, just the living room. Okay. So I was telling everybody that we're talking about agriculture and some of the ranches here and what we can find here in Yucatan as far as food and as far as agriculture, etc. So tell us a little bit about the ag world in Yucatan.
Well, as we said the last week, the kind of terrain that we have in Yucatan is a little bit diverse in certain regions. Mm-hmm. And of course, the quality of the soil that we have in the state, that also is marking us a line of what we can do, what we can get, and how hard it will be to get it. If we look at the map of the state, in that case, when we look at the map of the state around Merida, we're going to go back to the crater. What is the crater? What is inside the crater of that terrain, which is around Merida and getting close to Muna and to the coastline? It's a kind of a little bit of a different terrain in comparison to the rest of the state. It is too rocky.
So here I'm on the map. So here, let's so last week we were talking about the crater, right? So we were talking about like there's a big ring that we saw that the crater created, which is right about here. I'm right here in Chuchulub, and I'm in the center of where the crater hit, or I'm sorry, where the asteroid hit. So here we're talking about this one.
That region that is inside the crater, we could say that is the poorest in quality of the terrain, of the soil.
Okay.
There's a lot of limestone. The topsoil is very shallow, no more than a foot, 1 foot, and that is it. And of course, there is no rivers, no lakes in that case. So therefore, we do not have the kind of terrain that is needed to have certain kinds of crops. This is what is known as a low, semi-tropical deciduous jungle.
Okay.
This is what we can find in the northern part of Yucatan. The rest out of the crater and going to the east towards Quintana Roo, the Caribbean, but getting around the town that is called Tizimin, Buctos, Panabá, and those places, and a little bit to the south of around Valladolid, that is, it became the cattle ranches region.
Okay.
The soil is rich, but the deforestation that was caused by the ranchers in order to build all these pasture fields affected the region. So there are rains there, but not as much as we can see on the south. On the south side of the state, which is where this kind of a triangle or this kind of Y-shaped line that you can see there, which is where Quintana Roo, Campeche, and Yucatan converge, that is exactly known as the southern side of the Yucatan, or the agriculture region. There has been deforestation in those places too in order to build all these plantations, but it's less than what has been done on the cattle ranches region. Okay, so this is
down in the south is where most of our fruits and vegetables come from, or this is the fertile land down here.
Exactly. And in that place, the topsoil is really rich. It's a few feet deep, and one of the reasons is the humus. All these leaves, all this material, or this organic material that decays and decomposes on the soil enriches the soil. That is why the crops there are so rich. And besides that, because of the jungle, there's more rainfall.
Right. Okay. So let's. So here we have 3 different types of soil, I guess, or land. So we have around the crater. So you said around the crater, it's very arid in the sense, or the soil is not very rich in nutrients. So is there something that grows here, or what grows?
That is exactly the region where the henequen was grown, because the henequen doesn't need a rich soil, doesn't need water, and in any kind of a terrain, rocky and really shallow topsoil, not so much water or anything like that, the henequen will grow. The only thing that they had to be doing would be keeping clear the grounds so they can walk through it, and the small ones, or the what we call the vástagos, or the children or the sons of the henequen will grow up, because they will be going up from the roots of the main plants. So that is why the henequen was found in this particular region. Nowadays that the henequen is gone, that all these haciendas, most of them disappear. Now, a lot of these places have been used in order to plant citrus, aloe vera, citrus, certain kinds of crops with irrigation. And what needs water with irrigation. And besides that, all this is the land around Merida and around the villages near Merida, where most of the chicken farms and pig farms have been established. So that is what is, in a way, creating the income or creating the activity or the jobs for the people who live in that particular region, because the henequen haciendas are gone. And anyway, the henequen haciendas were not an option for them, because they were so poor and they get paid so badly that wasn't really an option. They had to do it because that was a system that was established in those days. But that is another topic. That's another talk about that.
Right, that's another episode. Well, okay, I do have a question though about the henequen. So how was it? When did the henequen come here? Because I know the big henequen.
It's a native. It's native.
Oh, it's a native
plant. It is a native plant. It can be found in several parts of the country, several parts of the world also. But in the Yucatan, it's a native plant. The Mayas were using it since long before the Spanish arrived to this area. They were making robes, they were making sandals, they were making bags, they were making so many different articles with the fiber of the henequen.
Oh, that's fascinating. And there were different types, and it was the henequen, which the henequen here is the green henequen, correct?
That is the green one, right.
And because the blue henequen is what they use for tequila. It makes better tequila, the best tequila.
Exactly.
Was that here as well?
And that is located in northern part of Mexico, around Tamaulipas, Jalisco, and a few other states in the northern part of Mexico. It can be found.
Okay, but in Yucatan, it was the green Heineken.
But the one that we have here is the green Heineken. In Valladolid, there is a distillery that is producing a good quality tequila, but they have their own plantations of blue agave.
Okay, so they brought in the blue agave.
They brought it, exactly. They brought it in, but they cannot call it tequila because of the name of origin.
Right.
So they have a different name. You can use any name you want to, but tequila.
Aha, right. It's like champagne in France.
It's like champagne, like cognac, like bourbon.
Right.
They are all, they have a name of origin.
Right. Okay, yeah, interesting. So, okay, so then over in here, because, you know, in Yucatan, like I think in Yucatan meat, I think of, it's a lot of pork, right? When I think of like Quintana Roo, I think of more beef, because there's a lot of beef in Quintana Roo. That's just me and observing when I go to restaurants and what's available.
We have a lot of pork. We have a lot of beef also. What happens is that the traditional Yucatan cuisine is mainly pork and turkey.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we can see more dishes made out of that. But the Yucatan produces a lot of beef. The problem of the beef that is produced in the Yucatan is that the cattle ranches area, it's a really vast region, and they produce a lot of meat. But as they apparently they didn't know how to commercialize the meat. So what they're doing is they are selling the calves when they're about 6 months old to be grown up, and then that will be the meat. But they're selling those calves to other states on the northern part of Mexico, like Querétaro, Nuevo León, and other places. So they come to Yucatan, they buy them here, and they take them to those places, and they commercialize that meat. Cancun and Riviera is an excellent market, but that market, the Yucatan or the Yucatecos farmers or ranchers, they have not found a way. I don't know if they're not interested or they haven't found a way. They might need an advisor to commercialize it for marketing that kind, because they're losing that kind of market. And that market of the Riviera and the South Part, Riviera, Cancun, Tulum, and those places, it's supplied by companies from Nuevo León, from the United States, from other places, but not the Yucatan. Yucatan sends part of that meat to that region. The other part comes to Merida and goes to other places of the southeast of Mexico. But the main product or the main income of these ranchers, which are, they are a little over 15,600 ranches registered in Yucatan. 91% of them are small ones that we call pequeño ganadero, or small ranchers that have no more than 75 heads of cattle in each one of these places. They are not located exactly in that particular region of Tizimin, or what is known as the cattle ranches area. They're all over the state. But the remaining 9% that could be around 1,300 ranches, which are big. We're talking about big ranches. When you go to Tizimin, you can see apparently it's only one pasture field that goes from Motul all the way to Tizimin. But there are several ones which are connected. There's only a fence that is dividing the properties. But those ones, the quality of the beef, the quality of the cattle that those ranches have is one of the best in Latin America. In fact, the fair that is known as Ixmaquil, that this year was canceled because of the pandemic, in this place, they take the best, what they have in genetics of cattle to be sold to ranches from Central America, from certain parts of the northern part of South America, and the rest of the country. And they have amazing quality in beef.
We just don't get too much of it here in Yucatan.
No, we can get it. We can get it, but it will be in a different. This is something that, being here and having such a quality of animals, such quality of meat or product, they should control the market. They don't do it. When you go to the supermarket, you find beef that's coming from Nuevo León, from Sonora, from other places, but you hardly see meat that is from the Yucatan. They normally sell it to the butchers that will be on the marketplaces.
Okay.
And that is the way, but of course the butchers are not having the best meat that you can get out of those ranches, because that meat is sold.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And you were telling me also that the cows here in Yucatan are mainly for meat and not for cheese, because that's another thing. I mean, any of the variety of cheese that we get is either coming from other parts of Mexico or, of course, internationally. We don't really, we get the queso fresco and things like that, but
no, we don't. There are very few dairy farms in Yucatan, very few. I don't know how many, but probably no more than 5 or 6 of them. One of them is near, on the way to Tizimim, near the entrance of Panabá and Suquila. There's a small store that sells good cheese and several kinds of cheese. And it's probably one of, I don't know if there's another, there used to be another one in Progreso years ago, but that is gone.
Right. Well,
this is the part that I know. And the small places that might be producing cheese, but just like a local consumption. And this kind of thing, nothing big that could be exported or sent to other places.
Right. And there's some local really good cheese from the Rancho de Águilas, which were Puras Cosas Buenas. They sell at the slow food markets. They have actually a lot of cheese there, but it's very small. It's all organic, but it's very small.
But this is what I tell you. Probably there will be very few dairy farms. And the reason is that this is too hot. The humidity is very high. It's too hot. So the dairy cattle cannot really produce well here. They cannot take the heat. That is why the dairy farms are located in other regions which are higher in altitude. They're cooler, like Veracruz, like other parts of the Valley of Mexico, North of Mexico, where even when it's hot in certain parts of the year, but the rest of the year the temperatures are lower. Right. So that is why here we do have a stock instead of being dairy. And also, if you look around, you will see that the main breed of cattle that we have in the Yucatan is the Brazil, and not the Brasilia, is the Indio, the Indo Brazil. It's from India. That's called Cebu. So this kind of cattle is very resistant to the heat. So what they have been doing, they took it to Brazil and they breed it with another kind. And now in the Yucatan, we have at least probably about 12 or 14 different breeds, all of them based off Cebu or the Indo Brazil and European or American cattle in order to produce beef. Right. Not dairy. So they combine the resistance of the Indo Brazil or the Cebu to the heat and the quality of the meat that the other cattle is putting in. So you have a cattle that is resistant to the heat, that will be gaining weight, and they will have a good meat. Right.
Interesting. Well, okay, so let's swing around to the agriculture, which is down in the south part of the state. So what is part of the agriculture? What is the strength of Yucatan here? I mean, I know what I see in the markets, but what is it really the strong economical strength of the Yucatecan agriculture?
We had to begin saying that because of the heritage of the Mayas, every one of the farmers, every one of the people who live in the small villages, they have what is called the milpa, which is a farm where they raise or they grow corn, squash, and beans. Okay. That's the basic of a milpa. And everyone will have one of those. And they are scattered all over the state because that is the basic activity that many of these people have. They sell part of it, they consume the other part, and sometimes where they cannot sell it, at least they have something to eat. And this is part of a tradition. Sometimes even when they don't need it, they like it and they will do it. Right. Now we should not forget that on the last years there has been so much phenomena in many ways that have been affecting not only the agriculture, but the cattle ranches, but also the honeybee production, droughts, hurricanes, storms,
and like
so many other things.
Yeah, I was just saying in the introduction last year with 2020, it was really a nightmare with all the flooding.
Oh, yeah, they lost bees, all the beehives they lost with the rain, with the winds and everything. They lost crops on the southern side. Of many different varieties of vegetables and fruits, cattle in many places where they were flooding or there was so much water, the grass died out. So they were having really a lot of troubles because of this situation. And also the markets collapsed because of the pandemic. So a lot of people, even if they would have a good crop or they had good productions, there was not going to be really many places to be sold. Hotels were closed. So a lot of these vegetables that are coming out from the southern part of Yucatan were going to Cancun, Riviera, and those places. So the main clients were there. And also a lot of these other products are taken to the rest of the country. When you go to Oaxuscap, there are two markets. The local market, that is the one that goes every day, and the wholesale market that is just off the town. And in that places, you don't see a small pickup truck or car going in to buy 2 bananas or 2 radishes or some tomatoes. You can see tons of these products being purchased by huge trailers that put them in and take them to Riviera, Cancun, or to the rest of the country.
Right, right. And so in Oaxuscap, let's talk a little bit about Oaxuscap. Here I have a picture of the orange. They have a fair, the orange fair, or the citrus, right?
The citrus. There are
right.
all kinds of citrus, and there's a lot of mangoes, a lot of mamey, a lot of pineapples, a lot of watermelon, cantaloupe, whatever you want to. You find it right there. Caimitos and zaramullos. Zaramullo is like a sweet apple.
Right.
Caimito is a tropical fruit that I don't know the name in English. I haven't found it. I actually haven't looked for it. It's kind of a purple one or green, and you cut it open like a little hole on the top and squeeze it, and there's some kind of a cream and meat that comes out. It's so delicious.
Oh yes, these are good. Let me see if I can.
You put them on the refrigerator, they're kind of cold. That is even better.
Right. Yeah, and also of late, I've been obsessed with the zapotes, the black zapote.
Zapote, that's the chewing gum tree fruit.
Oh,
which
it is.
A lot also, huh?
I didn't know that. Is the
some other parts of the country they call it chico zapote.
I didn't know.
The zapote is the brown one that could be really small or big ones. There was some kind of a breeding that they made with the trees of zapote, where you can get really in my parents' house. There was still a tree that is really big, and the zapotes that you can get there are about this size. And so sweet that when you bite them, all the juice is just coming out of your mouth.
Right. Yeah. For me, I feel like it's like eating moose. It's kind of like a combination.
And also, that is the tree where the chewing gum is coming from.
Yeah. Right. And they're filled with so much nutrients. It's incredible.
Oh,
Here, I'll show you a picture. Here's the black zapote, which is
that is the black zapote. It's called in Maya. It's called tauch.
Tauch. Aha.
Later on, I will tell you the meaning of that fruit in Maya. It's actually monkey doo-doo. It's monkey doo-doo.
Monkey doo-doo. Yeah. That's right.
Look at the meat. It's black. That is exactly how that looks like.
Exactly. And here I also actually got a picture of the caimito, so that people can
caimito?
See.
That's such a good one.
Caimito looks like. Let me see if I can find it again here. There it is. This is the caimito I was talking about.
That's the one. And also what you can find on the southern part of the state where the agriculture region is, where you can see small farmers, small like families that have their own farm and all that. There are co-ops. In a community, we have a few co-ops that put together all the product that they have, and they commercialize it, and they cover more land in order to work it. But besides that, there are really huge companies on the south side, on the southern side of Yucatan, where they are producing cucumbers, tomatoes, lime, and a few other citrus, which they use for the bottling companies like Coca-Cola and other ones that are using the lime. And there are all these products like cucumbers and tomatoes and chile habanero, they're all exported.
Right. Well, that's another thing. Is there, or was there ever sugarcane in Yucatan?
There was sugarcane long ago. At the very beginning, when the Spanish were established in the Yucatan, and they began with the cattle ranches that were called estancias, when they brought the cattle from Spain, and they were developing, they were growing, they were producing cattle. There was a lot of cotton. There was a lot of honey, but the melipona, the stingless bee, because the other one was brought to Mexico from Europe and from Italy. And
the melipona bees are indigenous to...
They're indigenous. Well, they are in many parts of the world. The melipona lives in subtropical and tropical regions. That's why you don't find it in cold areas like in the US or going up to the north in Canada. You find the other ones, you find the European, but not the Meliponas.
Right. The Meliponas, again, are the stingless bees.
The stingless. And in the Yucatan, we have about 16, 17 different varieties of Meliponas. In all the country, there are a little over 40. Chiapas is the state that I understand that has the largest number of varieties of Melipona, close to 30.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And in the rest of the continent, there are about some could be around 50 or something like that. Now, talking about the European bees, there are over 500 species on the world.
Right.
Not the Melipona, the other one that have this thing that might get you if you get close to them. But anyway,
those are the ones you have to put the outfit on,
like a net, or like you're like an astronaut.
Look around and touch them. They're like getting close to you. I'll show you a picture. Here's the Meliponas. Let's see. Here we go.
And this is something that has been an incredible income from for Yucatan, and also Yucatan, the whole peninsula. Quintana Roo and Campeche produce a lot of honey too. And in fact, about 30% of the honey that is produced in the whole country is produced in the peninsula of Yucatan, Campeche, and Quintana Roo.
Oh, wow.
Yucatan has an average production of about 10,000 tons, which of course 2020 got lost. 2019 got lost because of the droughts, because of varroaceae, that is some kind of like a tick that attacks the bees, and it's like a plague. So varroaceae was something that was affecting the production of honey too.
Right.
And deforestation is also killing them because they're losing the flowers, they're losing the flora that they need in order to produce the honey.
Right. So what is it now? Because I know, so going back to all the devastation that the flooding brought, which was, we're talking June, July, August, and in that area into September. So now, how are the crops recovering? It seems like things are recovering little by little.
It's gonna be slow. This is gonna be slow because there were so many crops that got lost. All this flooding in many areas that really destroy the crops and destroy the vegetation of those places. It's gonna be taking some time to recover. It's not gonna be really easy and fast. They're gonna start producing small quantities. And gradually, if there is not another situation next year with hurricanes, with the storms or anything like that, that will be affecting them again, then they will gradually grow and produce more and more.
Right. And that's one of the things I do with MID CityBeat is I really try to encourage people to support local as much as possible, to buy from the local farmers instead of maybe going to Costco and getting all the imported stuff, which is really nice. I do have to admit they have great stuff. But
and you know what is excellent too? Sometimes it's really worth it. I mean, you can go like to Uman, you can go to Motul, which are close by. And if you go to Motul to the marketplace, that's an amazing marketplace. Uman is also really nice, but Motul, you got a bonus. If you go to the marketplace in Motul, you can eat huevos motuleños on the second floor.
Exactly.
And you can do your shopping of vegetables and fruits on the lower section.
Right, and you can get your cultural experience.
And then you are supporting the local farmers.
Yeah, which I think is really, really important. I mean, it's always important, but especially after our devastating year last year, to really help people get back on their feet. And it just it helps to grow the community in and of itself.
But you know what? People has to get educated in that sense.
Right.
They rather go to a Costco, to a Walmart, or any one of those places, and if they see a farmer out on the street and marketplace, they will go and bargain with them. Why they don't bargain in those places, in Costco and Walmart or in Sam's? But they see one of these farmers selling their tomatoes or their radishes, and they ask you 20 pesos. No, that's too expensive. I will give you 10.
Right.
That is really bad. I mean, that should not be.
Right. Pay them the asking price, because for the most part, it is completely reasonable. Yeah.
And they are fresh. They just produce them fresh. They're organic. Most of them are organic. They don't have any kind of chemicals on it.
Right.
Anyway, they're not using chemicals in most of the places. Monsanto lost a situation on the southern part of Yucatan.
Right. Exactly.
They ban it. They close it. They shut it down. They cannot do anything in those places. Fortunately,
which is amazing, which is incredible. Thank God.
Oh, they were affected. They're affecting everything, especially the bees. The bees were getting poisoned.
Oh,
so
right.
they were losing all the beehives. Fortunately, in Yucatan, we do not have the same problem that they have in Campeche and in Quintana Roo, especially Campeche with the Mennonites.
Oh, right.
Mennonites, they are hardworking people. They are really hardworking people. They produce a lot of corn, a lot of vegetables, a lot of dairy, a lot of cheese, but they deforestate so much that in places of Campeche, the deforestation effect has been really bad because of that. Campeche opened the doors for the Mennonites. Campeche is a state that is the less populated of all the three of the peninsula. Is Yucatan, Quintana Roo, and Campeche. Campeche has in all the state about 800,000 inhabitants, and they got so much land. So they wanted that land to be producing. So they invited the Mennonites to come as well. On the southern side of Campeche, around Calakmul, there are communities which are coming from Chiapas, from Guatemala, from other places, farmers that move there because it's all jungle. There is so much land available yet that anyone that really wants to work can get the land and work. But what they did with the Mennonites, when they came here, they do not place the rules of the game on the table. You cannot deforestate. This is as much as you can do, and they just feel free in order to do whatever they wanted to in order to have an incredible. They really raised the production of corn in Campeche. The agriculture started having a boom in that place, but the cost was really high. Deforestation,
right?
Well, as a pasture field.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so we're going to kind of start finishing up here, but I do want to kind of ask you, so what do you think is the next step for agriculture, and what do you think that we could do as a public to support and just be a knowledgeable public about what we are consuming, how we are supporting local, etc.?
Well, one of the things that we should do is that we should consume what is produced around here by the farmers. Otherwise, we're going to kill them.
Right.
If we keep going to big stores like Walmart, like Costco, like Sam's, or like Soriana, whatever big ones, many of those products are not coming from this region. And in a way, what is going to be happening? They don't have a place to be selling their products. And if you compare, the prices are much lower. And on top of that, some people will be bargaining with them in order to lower the prices. That's really bad. That's really sad.
Right.
So
yeah.
Buying to the local farmers, that would be one of the ways of supporting them. One of the ways of encouraging them in order to produce more and more and more. Absolutely.
And, I think a lot of, especially foreigners, sometimes they see some things that are different and they're like, what is that? They don't even know what to do with it. So it can maybe ask the locals or get some information on how to prepare it as well. And there's a lot of different fruits and vegetables.
There's so many things. I don't know if we do if we go to Mani and those places, it will be very hard to because of the time. But we should organize one day a trip to Oaxuscap and see all the region. Go to see the plantations, go to see the farmers, spend the day with them, and have some pozole with them on the farms. You know what pozole is like?
Yes, I love pozole.
With coconut?
With coconut? No. I usually have
it in Uman, at the marketplace in Uman, they sell you the meat. I mean, the bowl of pozole with coconut. The only thing you have to do is mix it with water. You can sweeten it with honey. You can put salt on it, or you can eat it with chile habanero pepper if you want to.
Oh my gosh.
And that is what the farmers take to the
that's
field.
Going to be I'm noting that down. That's going to be an excursion. Once we get out and about, that's going to have to definitely be something to do.
We can start at the marketplace in Uman and have the pozole right there, and then we keep going to to Oshkosh, that is not really that far from there. Will be a little over an hour.
Wow. Well, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Again, thank you so much for all of your knowledge today, Carlos, and thanks everybody for visiting. And also, I want to remember everybody who is watching that if you have a topic that you want to talk about and you want Carlos to address, go ahead and write me in the comments here, or just send me a message on Mid City Beat, and we can bring it in. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Next week, we have a really interesting topic, so I'll tell you a little bit about that in the upcoming posts. But thanks so much, Carlos. I'm going to put his name and his contact number here. So if you're interested, you can call him and directly if you want him to be your tour guide, or you want to do a private excursion, or whatever information, you can give him a call or send him a WhatsApp, or you can write him an email. So be sure to do that. But again, thanks, Carlos. Any last words?
Just one more thing about the phone number. Sometimes the connection is not really that good, or the signal get lost. So send a message, WhatsApp. So whenever there's a signal, it will come in, and I will read it, and I will immediately answer. Yes,
because Carlos is many times on site, right? You're on site. He's in the jungles with the jaguars and everything else, which is part of what we might talk about next week. Hint, hint. So
that is exactly what it's going to be like.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Mid City Beat, Facebook and Instagram if you're not already a follower. And we'll see you next week. Bye, Carlos.
Bye-bye. Have fun. Enjoy